Hello and welcome to With Wellner Anderson. This is the third of the series on what is money and why you really need to know. When I first started sending videos to you, my first video, I asked a question which I'm going to ask again. If you or a family member had a terminal illness and you got a diagnosis from a doctor, you probably get a second opinion. If your son or daughter brought home schoolwork and you didn't know whether or not it was honest, and even if you did, you would check with the teacher or check your kid's report cards to make sure it's true. In the same event, if you were looking for a home somewhere, you wouldn't depend upon the realtor to provide you all the information. You would go out and do some of the research yourself. So the question I posed before, and I'm posing again, is why do you treat money differently? I did that also. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not understand what money really was. I simply turned it over to a financial person and crossed my fingers. It's important to understand what money really is. Unfortunately, 99% of us really don't know what money is. And I was like that. A brief history of money. Paper money, which is really currency, began in China over 1,000 years ago. Coin money is a lot older. And it began in Asia Minor, parts of Africa. And it was paper money then began to take over the entire world. The elements of money must be durable. Bananas are not money. Money must be portable. A rock is not money. It must be divisible. In other words, I have to be able to give you change back from it, so I can't use a cow as money. Money must be fungible. What that means is that money, a dollar bill is a dollar bill. A dollar bill is different from a diamond because diamonds are different. They're not cut the same. So diamonds cannot really be money. But the most important thing is that it retains its value. That's the critical thing. If it doesn't retain value, it can't be money. One other thing to bring to mind is governments use a term called FIAT. FIAT means by decree you have to accept this money. In the United States, until 1971, you had the ability to redeem your money for gold. Until 1964, in the United States, they began, if you look at a coin before 1964 and look at a coin now, you would notice that the coin before 1964 has a copper trace in it. I mean, the one after it has a copper trace. The one before 1964 is solid. So that is called debasing. The government is taking away your purchasing power by putting less and less silver in that currency. One of the critical things with money is supply and demand. Like anything else, the more you have of something, the less it's worth. I remember when I was a kid, I don't remember exactly the particular numbers, but my father back in the 60s used to make about $8,000 a year. And back in the 60s, 1960, it cost about, I want to say, 23 cents for a loaf of bread. Today, a loaf of bread is about $4. And if you also look at the money, if you took $500 of 1960 money and converted it into today's money, you would get $4,000. Where am I going with all this and all the math? Is that my father had better purchasing power. Although I had made much more money than him, his purchasing power in 1960 meant that he got better values than I did. Basically, that's inflation. And that's the purchasing power of your money. It's a very quiet tax. It's an easy task for politicians to get away with because you don't see it immediately. You don't see it till further down the road. As I said before, one of the key things is confidence, how important confidence is. Let's take this for example. 1/10 of a basis point is about the money in America that is counterfeit. It comes to $600 billion. Sounds like a lot of money, but based upon the American economy, it's not that much. The reason why the government is so concerned with counterfeit money is because of confidence. Think about this. You are sitting home and you hear on the news that there's a lot of counterfeit $20 bills out there. You're going to question what you have. So what that will create is a massive amount of people looking to redeem their money for something because it's lost its value. Going back for a moment, going back to inflation, the bottom line is the rich are able to get out of this before poor people. The rich are able to see this before inflation hits the poor people. Inflation mainly hurts hourly people, people on pensions, Social Security recipients, people like that really get the screws. Housing prices drop, unemployment raises, jobs become more scarce. Basically, it's a Ponzi scheme. In other words, if you know what a Ponzi scheme is, they're taking your money and giving it to someone else, and it never goes back to a central source. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to ask you to again give it a thumbs up, and I'd like you to see my next video, which is going to be about cryptocurrency, and this is a good segue into that. Thank you and have a good day.